All right, like most of my projects, I always start by creating a simple reference board, just like looking for styles or elements, or sometimes you're lucky and you find like a pattern that you can use. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I found like Pinterest is a great place to look for patterns when doing, almost anything when it has to be done with clothing. So you'll just have to search for sewing patterns or jacket pattern or whatever you're working on. So I went ahead and created designing a trench coat, and I'll leave that link to you if you want to use the same board. As for style wise, I'm going to use this just like a roadmap. I just don't have to follow it exactly because the character that we're going to do is going to be more cartoony, so it's not going to be realistic. Like the clothing will be realistic, but the proportions will be a bit more exaggerated. Style-wise, I'm gonna go with something classical. This actually is a project for a client, so I wanted like to show you the actual workflow that I do once I finish a character and how I take that character into from ZBrush to Marvelous Designer and create the cloth and then bring it back to Marvelous Designer. And at the end of it, I'll even show you how I render it, either using dimensions or Substance Painter, just to show you how you can present your product to the client without like sending them only ZBrush screenshots. So I'm going with a Humphrey Bogart kind of style, really clean, really simple. First thing we're gonna do, we're gonna jump into ZBrush, and this is the character that I'm gonna work with. And as you can see, he's more of a cartoony, proportions wise. Like the head is bigger, the body is a bit smaller, and you'll notice that this guy is already dressed in a suit, and the entire suit was created also in Marvel's Designer. So you can see the jacket. Like this looks a bit weird because when we created this character, he was supposed to have a jacket and also a shirt. So if I'm gonna hide the jacket, you're gonna see the shirt. So what I'm gonna take from this, you'll see that this is has like subdivisions and so on, but I don't care about that. I just want his body so I can simulate the trench coat all over that. We don't need the jacket for that one because it's not going to be visible. Because when he's going to be wearing the trench coat, the only thing that's going to be visible is this part. But I will need his shoulders, his arms, so I can have a proper simulation. So first thing that I do is I hide all the parts that I'm not going to need. I'm not going to need the hat. I'm not going to need this hair. I'm going to leave that hair just to make him look nice. I'm going to remove the tie. All right. And should be enough. I don't need the belt. So I'm just getting rid of. I mean, you can go ahead and delete the shoes, delete anything that's not relevant. Okay, so once I have that, I'll go into Merge Visible, and that's going to create this. Now, you'll notice that this is a 2.8 million. Now, it's way too high. You can import this, but it's going to take like a long time to render. As I said, I already have these with multiple subdivisions, so I'm just going to go ahead and lower the subdivisions for the parts that I already have. Okay, shoes. We don't need the jacket. I'm going to delete that. Pants. I might leave it. Yeah, leave it to 2. Delete higher. The shirt as well. I'm leaving it just a bit higher just so I can have more polygons to work with. Just so I want the simulation to not have that many, faces. Okay, so that should be enough. So I go Merge Visible and 69,000. That's more like it. Okay, so before I go ahead and export this, I usually go into something called Caliper Masters, and I give a size to this guy because, as you know, Marvelous Designer is actually a physical correct simulator. So if your character is 3 meters high, or your character is like 50 centimeters high, it really makes a difference. So how the cloth simulates on the body and so on. So I want to make sure this guy has like a proper height, so everything looks more realistic. So I don't have to give him an exact height or anything, just anything like, I don't know, 180, 190 centimeters, just to give him like a you know usual male height. Okay, so now that I have that selected, I'm gonna make sure I have gizmo off and just use transpose. Click on top, set caliper point. To make it easier, just select Y, so then it's gonna draw like a straight line. And then click on the bottom, do set caliper point. So then we have like a ruler. So then here I'm gonna go 180 custom centimeters. All right. So usually I save this just in case I need to do any edits or so. Calipers 180. You don't need to do that if you don't want. But I got into the habit of doing that in case the client comes back and he needs any edits. Now I'm doing this because when we're gonna go ahead and export this guy into Marvelous, go import obj businessman, and we load as an avatar. Okay. Now for the bounding volume, which is this gauge, which makes it easier so you can go ahead and you can move the bounding volumes around your character, so it's easier to snap to it. To be honest, I found it's a waste of time to do that. I've seen a lot of people do that. It really works if you have one character which you're gonna do a lot of outfits to it. Then go ahead and create one. But if you're going to create different outfits each time, so you have different types of body, you have to set it up for each body each time and for that scale. For me, I don't use it that much, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. So you just select these and delete them. Okay. All right. So now the character, as you can see, he's sitting in the middle. So through the floor, so that's not going to simulate. Just select the character and just move him just above the floor. You can see it here. If I don't worry about having him exactly sitting on the floor, it's not going to make a huge difference. All right. So now once we have, as you can see, we have this, and the scale of it is really good. So now I can start creating the trench coat.